To finish up our overview of treatment, we are now going to take a look at an approach called harm reduction. In general, this has been one of the more controversial approaches in the field, but it is actually regularly implemented in a variety of social settings. For example, free bus rides or taxi rides on New Year's Eve can fall under harm reduction. Also, a designated driver program would be considered harm reduction. Why? Because the key focus of harm reduction is to create practical community strategies to reduce the negative consequences related to addiction. In addition to the examples already listed, some practices that have been included under the harm reduction approach are needle exchange programs, reduced use, diversion programs, free HIV testing, and the Good Samaritan overdose law. The idea is to look at ways to reduce harm as opposed to drawing a hard and fast line regarding abstinence-only goals. One of harm reduction's views is that creating abstinence-only goals have often marginalized and/or stigmatized those seeking recovery who have struggled with ongoing relapse issues. Within harm reduction, abstinence may still be a long-term goal, but the main idea or focus is to meet someone who's struggling with addiction where they are at in a non-judgmental manner. In addition, there is a focus on conditions of use or associated behaviors that may be harmful, in addition to the substance use itself, as a way to foster increased safety. As a provider, we look for ways to reduce any harmful behaviors associated with addiction and create meaningful treatment goals at those points. Also, harm reduction does not attempt to force people to make specific or certain changes, but looks for where they do want to or can change as important and valuable steps. This can often create a quote-unquote window of opportunity regarding recovery, can also increase a person's sense of self-esteem, and foster a belief that maintaining change or creating more change is possible. While this highlights the principles of harm reduction, as mentioned before, it has been one of the more controversial approaches. There have been quite a range of concerns and reactions regarding this approach. Initially, concerns were raised that the harm reduction movement was only operating as a front for legalizing drugs. In addition, many were concerned that HR practices such as offering free needles and condoms would only promote more use. Likewise, many providers were concerned that using this approach amounted to quote-unquote enabling clients. More recently, concerns regarding the use of safe injection sites, another harm reduction approach, in the recovery field have generated more questions and discussion. The addiction field has taken note of these questions and concern and has tried to generate discussion and fact-finding regarding the concerns and questions raised. As we have discussed before, every treatment approach has pros and cons, and it is important to address concerns and identify both the strengths and limitations of any approach. Many advocates of harm reduction have worked to present information that shows harm reduction is not about permitting or being soft on use, but while also providing data on ways some harm reduction strategies have significantly reduced transmission of disease and reduced deaths. From the data available, the societal benefits suggested have included increase in public health, reductions in overdose rates, reduction in crime, and an increase in alternative, accessible treatment options for clients. In addition, communities have shared ways the implementation of some harm reduction strategies have helped to empower them. One treatment approach that is included under the harm reduction umbrella is medication-assisted treatment, or MAT. While it is still technically a type of harm reduction, it has expanded over the years and is often looked at as its own approach. With MAT, here again, there are often strong opinions and beliefs about this type of approach. For example, many question the legitimacy of using medication to assist during the recovery process. In its early days, there were limited studies available which often led to confusion about how to implement it into the treatment process and what other services should be made available. Currently, we have a much larger body of research, both national and international, which is helpful to guide agencies on when and how to use medication-assisted treatment. It is usually viewed as one potential tool that can be used in the recovery process in conjunction with other treatment approaches and services. Currently, when medication-assisted treatment is generally offered, it is done so with other treatment methods and resources. For example, the American Society of Addiction Medicine, known as ASAM, has come out with both a policy statement and treatment recommendations for the use of medication for opioid addiction. However, this is an area that continues to benefit from more discussion, research, and evaluation. In general, the use of medication-assisted treatment, as noted in the text, is broken down into two phases: detoxification and maintenance. Within detoxification, the focus with medication is on addressing withdrawal symptoms and medically stabilizing the person. For maintenance, medication is generally used to reduce relapse potential and assist with maintaining long-term recovery goals. The text briefly identifies the general strategies of agonist, antagonist, and punishment-type medications used for the maintenance phase. Lastly, the types of substances where medication might be used as a treatment tool continues to be explored. Currently, as outlined in the text, there are several medications used to target certain substances, from nicotine to alcohol to opioids. Each treatment case is reviewed on an individual-to-individual basis, and treatment providers generally work together collaboratively with each client to determine which treatment approaches, including MAT, will be most effective in helping them reach their recovery goals.